Welcome into another episode of The Raging Buffalo, the first of 2020, as a matter of fact. And it's the founding three. Look at that. It's me, Frank, and KP.
How we doing?
It has
been a while.
It's been a bit. The last time you saw me, I was choking on a pepper that I ate out of pity because of the struggles that Zach, Scott, and Luke went through in our habanero hot takes.
Yes,
so I ate a pity pepper.
The good old the pity pepper.
Pity pepper.
That's right.
The pity pepper. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Frank, this is his first time doing an actual video because the last time you saw him, he was just stone cold dead inside when he ate his habanero hot pepper. You son of a bitch.
You were on the first one, correct? It
Yeah.
was you, Derek, and Connor?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about that experience because I have yet to be drafted.
He felt nothing.
This
Good.
is true.
I
He's
feel
the
like
worst person to ask.
I feel like I will be the same way.
Oh, fuck you.
I do fairly well with spicy foods. Again,
That's
I'm
why.
not gonna know
Like-
until I get there, but I enjoyed that one, and then I actually watched Luke, Scott, and Zach last week.
That one was rough.
Very,
the boys,
very rough to watch.
The boy, and again, I ate that one extra pepper out of pity, and I had half of that one, and that was far worse than the first one we had. Undeniably. So, yes, this is an actual video where we get to really talk and actually have our full thoughts and comprehension because of the fact that we are not choking on a pepper this time around. So look at that. We actually get to use our words and properly talk about things for the first time in a while.
I like the discussions too.
Being sick, by the way, sucks. It was one of the major reasons we couldn't get anything out from the start of the new year when the Bills had clinched their playoff spot and then it went away. But carry on.
No, I really enjoyed the discussions and the questions in the last habanero hot takes. I thought
Yeah,
it was interesting where you went around the room and said, who are your three most improved Buffalo Sabres? And I liked the discussion there. I like the variations. You know, it can get lost.
Yeah, it
after
can
a
get
while.
lost in the mayhem that ensues.
That has been the Sabres this last decade or so. But it's good to look at the positive sometimes and to see these guys really dig into the seasons of a reinvigorated Johan Larsson and Linus Ullmark sort of taking the reins as a starter for the first time.
And even
Hutton's recent struggles.
And even as much as I hate to say it, Zemgus Girgensons has looked far and away better.
I was surprised, and I liked your dialogue on this as well. I don't know if you watched it, Frank. You were there, though, right? Did you edit a little bit?
I wasn't
on that one?
there,
You weren't
no.
involved? I mean, he's now a Montreal Canadian, but nobody really mentioned the season that's Marco Scandella put together.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, I loved the season that he was having.
Yeah.
So, and I
better
guess
things.
there's no better transition to what we'll start with then, I suppose. Well, why not the team that's actually playing games right now in the Buffalo Sabres? Because, I mean, we'll get into the Bills and the dead playoffs and the very infuriating thing that was there. But,
Yeah, 1.5 new players tonight against St. Louis.
I get it. Because that means Michael Frolik makes his Sabres debut. Lawrence Pilot makes his season debut, a player that we all thought, why the hell isn't he up here in the first place? Oh, wait, that's right, because they're carrying 12 NHL defensemen. That might have been a bit of a hyperbole, but still, I digress. The Sabres look like they're getting something going again, though. They've gotten a couple wins under their pocket again.
Haven't lost in 2020.
They haven't lost in 2020. They got a couple more wins there. And they remain the lone team that has actually managed to slow down Connor McDavid ever.
Yeah, Johan Larsson, secret weapon.
Like, you see what he did against Toronto, and you're just like, did he score against the Sabres? I don't think he did. And it's just like, it's just a wild realization. Like, the Sabres of all teams are the best when it comes to limiting Connor McDavid and how great he is.
Yeah, and you have to have a plan in place.
It's the Sabres of all teams.
Obviously, for 60
the team
minutes,
that tanked for him in the first place.
Obviously, through 60 minutes of play against Edmonton, you have to always have your eye on McDavid when he gets on the ice. You have to keep the puck away from him. But no, there was no further time in the game where you know for a fact you need to keep the puck away from Connor McDavid when it is the 5-minute overtime. The 3-on-3 5-minute overtime.
Yeah.
And the Sabres did a great job at that, and they actually had a plan in place. And
As a
it's
matter of
so
fact,
much easier
McDavid
said
got
than done.
beat right at the end of it.
Yeah.
It was his blown assignment that allows for that pass down low across to Colin Miller.
back.
And from Eichel to Johansson right there to Colin Miller. Like, that overtime play, that ends up, at the end of the day, it was McDavid's assignment.
But like I said, it's obviously easier said than done. You see
Yeah.
the terror that McDavid and Draisaitl have over the rest of the league, and I don't want to not include the Sabres. They've been very fortunate to get by on a couple of overtimes, specifically this year. Both their wins have been in overtime, both in and at home against Edmonton. But I thought it was very interesting what Ralph Kruger did to start overtime, going with a gut feeling, which so many people don't like to always go with. But he started Curtis Lazar for the opening draw and immediately told him to go back to the bench like a lacrosse player.
Yeah.
Because he had a gut feeling. Lazar was winning a lot of draws that night. He got the puck to the Sabres. They immediately took possession, and there goes the game.
Possession is
Not
9
right
tenths.
there,
But in
it was
overtime,
heavily in Buffalo's favor.
in overtime, possession is 9 tenths of the law.
Actually, it was mostly Buffalo. It only went a little over a minute.
Yeah.
So
Possession is 9 tenths of the law in overtime. And like when the players retreat and pass it back into their own zone, I respect the hell out of that. Why? Because they can't score on you in crazy 3-on-3 if they don't have the puck.
Right.
And I do like their overtime strategy of how they do that with how Ralph Kruger runs it. So the Sabres are a little banged up. That's being nice.
Yep.
If I want to be the panicky guy in the room, holy crap, we don't have Skinner and Olofsson. How do we score goals outside of not Eichel?
right.
That
is the $1 million question that we have to talk about. Ralph Kruger talked on Wednesday with Howard and Jeremy, obviously the need for secondary scoring away from the first line. And a couple weeks ago when Jeff Skinner went down, it was guys like Connor Sheary need to step up. And to his credit, he has. A couple of goals the last few games. Jimmy V.
He's looked a lot better.
Yes. I forget. Was
Jimmy
it the Edmonton game or the second game?
Yeah, it was the Edmonton game. Everyone's off the schneid.
Right. It was VC. It was Johansson, yes. That's right. He looks more comfortable after that whole lack of confidence and the thing with telling Paul Hamilton he wasn't confident with his stick. He didn't like how his stick felt in his hand.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of that.
He's getting back to his.
I think it was the injury, really. It was he was
Yeah,
coming
I
back
think
from
he
the
was still
injury.
being hindered
He
by
was
it.
still hindered by it, and then when you're not scoring coming off the injury, it gets in your head, and like he was battling a little bit of the mental block.
Squeezing a stick.
Yeah, and maybe that's why he was blaming the stick. He was just squeezing it too hard.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working for him. So, yeah, no, Johansson was on a mental block, and then you got other players on the schneid like that, and it just looks like, though, they are actually, it's funny that the injuries to Olofsson and Skinner are here at a time where the team actually is getting some balanced scoring. It really is kind of phenomenal to look at that and go, okay, they're actually getting things going here. They know what they're doing. They know that they have an opportunity to boost this team with how well they can score throughout the rest of the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Victor Olofsson, I think, is going to be missed though for a little bit of time here. He quietly has 35 points on the season in 42 games. He has been a fantastic addition. He's held his own on the first line as a 7th-round draft pick and a rookie in the NHL. Yeah, he's an older rookie. He's 24, but at the same time, you're hanging with Jack Eichel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not easy to do for many players. So what do we get out of this? Well, you get a guy that has had a very fantastic rookie season, a solid player that was likely looking to finish in the top 3 in the Calder before this injury.
Honestly, he still could.
He
but
can't
put my finger
it's
on
tough.
the third guy who's in the running. I know it's Cale Makar, Victor Olofsson, and there's a third fella that's been in a lot of people's minds.
Frank, you have to be up on this, right?
I'm trying to think.
I'm going to have to look up who the best rookies are. But Cale Makar going down, it was like, well, now Olofsson's got an outside shot. Makar's a stud.
Yeah.
He's an outright stud. He's a forward playing defense. That dude is a magician on the blue line. But his injury opened the door for Olofsson to gain some traction in the Calder voting. And now Makar is back. Olofsson's down. So, like, I feel like all of the best rookies this year in 2019-20 they're always battling something. I feel like unless you take out the start of the season, you really haven't had a good stretch of time where they've all been on the ice for their respective teams showcasing their talents, because Olofsson went nuts and Makar was battling an injury, and now you flip it. Now you're not going to have Olofsson for a month and a half, and Makar's back, and he may take the reins again.
He may take the lead again, yeah.
Right.
And it's tough, but you're looking at a very solid group there. I mean, this year's rookies, like the top 2 picks with Capo Caco and Jack Hughes, number 2 and number 1 there, they haven't had the seasons that we were expecting of them. And players like Olofsson and Cale Makar, they have been the brilliance of this season so far. And I'm pretty sure Victor Olofsson still leads all rookies in scoring. Quinn Hughes is the third, yes.
Okay.
So out of Vancouver. But, yeah, it really has been, for the most part, like it's been Olofsson's show as a rookie with the forwards.
100%. Yeah.
100%. And if I'm not mistaken, he's still leading in scoring.
Yes, he has 35 points. McCarr 32, Quinn Hughes 30.
Good Lord, McCarr's 32 points. That's a defenseman. So it's kind of wacky.
And I don't think we can forget, I mean, we're not going on a whole tirade of the rookies here, but Ilya Samsonov in Washington, pretty good.
Pretty solid, yes.
He's going to offer them a big problem in the offseason because you know who's a UFA?
Braden Holtby.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. But I do think that they have an opportunity in Washington to kind of just ease on a transition there, kind of like Columbus with Jonas Korpisalo and Sergei Bobrovsky. And I don't think like Washington sure as hell ain't selling at the deadline Braden Holtby. As good as Samsonov has been, he's not leaving, and it's going to be the same thing. They're going to lose Holtby probably for nothing, but they're going to gear up for one more playoff run. They're going to gear up for one more Stanley Cup here with Holtby in the crease before they just pass the torch on to Samsonov almost effortlessly, kind of like how Columbus did with Korpisalo. Difference being that Columbus knows they're kind of rebuilding, whereas Washington, they still have a powerful core with him that'll help ease the kid into more starts.
I don't really see that, honestly. I think Washington's actually going to re-sign Holtby.
It might be like a shorter-term deal then.
I could see it.
But that would be what – it also depends on what Holtby wants. He sees Bobrovsky's contract and goes, yo, give me that cheddar.
He might. I mean –
that means that Washington's not going to commit to it.
That means he's betting on another team to give him that.
Come on,
Somebody
dude.
will.
Somebody will. Kyle's absolutely right. Somebody's going to do it. He sees that Bobrovsky contract and goes, if I get 3/4 of that, I'm good.
It's all about it.
I think it all.
It's all
well,
about the
I think it
pedigree.
all. Yeah, I think and yours and that. I think that's based on the assumption that Holtby is going to take the money from another team, but he might. But a lot of players are weird. They some act different than others.
Some
he
do.
might want to be loyal to Washington. He might want to stay and sign like a 5-year deal because he's 30 right now. If he signs a 7-year deal, that's taking him to around 37, 38 years old.
Yeah, he'll be
And
31
that's
at the start
and
of
I think
next
that's
season.
the biggest key is another team going to want to do that.
Another team might have an opportunity because a lot of the capital stuff.
Because the
the
goalie market, the
goalie
goalie market this year is going to be really interesting because Jacob Markstrom's a free agent as well, and he's having a great year in Vancouver, and they have Thatcher Demko coming up and Michael DiPietro in the system. So, and I think
Markstrom, I do
for
believe-
Washington, I think
How
for
old is Markstrom?
Markstrom, I want to say he's like 28.
I think he's older than that. How about that?
Yeah, I'm not certain there, but I know that.
But anyway, while we look that up, the Capitals offseason
29.
moves are 29.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew Markstrom was younger. So
But so my thing with Holtby Samsonov, I don't think they give the reins to Samsonov next year because this is only his first year.
Holtby's also only 30.
Yeah, Holtby's 30.
That's the age that Bobrovsky just went to the free agent market with. And got 7 and 10. 7 and 10,
Yeah.
right? 770 with a save percentage under 900
But
currently.
but
Chris Drieger getting the starts now. He had to come in for the game against Buffalo.
yeah.
Yeah, they pulled Bobrovsky like right away. It was 3-0.
3 goals, 7 shots.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Samsonov's only in his first year, and he's still got one more year in his entry level deal. If you're the Caps, you do everything you can to re-sign Holtby and have them both be in the crease
Short
next
term,
year.
though, you think, right? With
Probably you want short term, but at the same
Question
time,
is, will he go short term?
Because good luck selling that contract on a long-term deal when Samsonov's ready.
You tell Samsonov.
Yeah, I mean it really depends. It really depends. No,
It does, and it depends on their cap space too. Because as I said, I just watched the game last night. They were talking about what they're going to look forward to in the summer. Nick Backstrom, too.
Mm-hmm.
There's been rumbles. He wants to obviously retire as a Washington Capital. He's 32.
Washington.
They've been in discussions on anything from potentially a 5 with lower term to a 7 with short term. Get him from 37 to 39, something like that. He wants to stay in Washington, but that may hinder their ability to bring both of them back. And I think they lean towards Backstrom over Holtby in that situation.
Keep the core instead of the netminder.
The biggest thing though is Washington's got a little under $20 million in cap space heading into the summer.
But what do they have for the rest of their contracts is always the question. So I don't want to talk too much about the Washington freaking Capitals right now. I mean, we do live in Buffalo, so we do want to talk a little bit more on the Sabres. And yes, I know that talking about a team that has just recently won a Stanley Cup is more interesting in the grand scheme of things than the Sabres.
It's a good transition, though. You're talking about a team that recently won to a team that just is coming off the Stanley Cup championship Chip, who is playing Buffalo tonight. Olmark versus Bennington, too. First time Jordan will play the Sabres in his career.
Yes. So they're not playing Hutton for that one.
They are
Nope,
not.
it's Olmark.
Okay.
Olmark versus Bennington.
Olmark really has taken control of the crease, and I guess we could start there with how Linus Olmark has been playing this season. And poor Carter Hutton just can't buy a win at this point, whether it's lack of goal support or the next thing you know, the defense is getting hemorrhaged and he is out of position. It really looks like it has just become a clear-cut 1-2 this season, whereas in seasons prior, it has been murky in the net.
Yeah, I think like you talk about how Olmark's been playing this year. What I've noticed is he seems a lot more poised in the net, where he's not free moving as what you saw like last year, where he does a lot of the overcommitment that you see out of Carter Hutton, where Hutton does that. And I get Hutton sometimes needs to do that because he's a smaller goalie, so they've got to rely on their speed a lot more. And a lot of times that even having that speed can bite them, because if they bite on a shot, pass comes the other way, it's an open net every day. Whereas Linus Olmark, you're seeing him use his body more.
Calm.
He's a big guy, because he's a big guy. He's like 6'5".
Calm, a good word.
Yes.
His
A lot-
body movement
yeah.
is
His movement seems more methodical, where he's not trying to do too much, because he knows that he's got a big body, that he can get the puck with his body, with his arm, a lot better than Carter Hutton would, because he's got a longer wingspan.
This is the guy to talk to if you want to talk goalies.
You want to talk goalies, you talk to Frank. He is, a shameless plug, he is our goalie for the 11-day power play for the for the Beer League non-stars. So I think I'll fit that description in the page.
Here's an
So
oddly-
click the link to donate to the Beer League non-stars for the 11-day power play.
Here's an oddly worded question, so I apologize if it comes off weird. But has Linus Olmark, in your guys' opinion, really taken that step this year and become the clear-cut, I don't want to say number one in Buffalo, but 1A
Yes.
for the Sabres? Or is it
I will
more
even
out
say
of
number one.
necessity where he has been thrust into a position with Hutton struggles that by no
Yes
choice
and
of
no.
your own, you need to be our best goaltender?
Yes and no.
I think because he's been put in a situation where he needs to play better because Hutton isn't. So I think yes and no is a good answer, but he has taken it, where he was put in this situation. Maybe he wasn't sure if he was gonna, but he was given it, and now he's running with it.
Yeah, it's because of the fact that Hutton was not doing as well that they needed to turn to Olmark. But to their surprise, a delightful
Olmark's
one,
giving back.
Olmark is taking it
In
and
stride.
taking an advantage of it. So it has become, I would say even so, a clear-cut 1-2. It's being treated as such.
It is.
When is the
being
last
treated.
time Carter Hutton got a start?
It's been a while.
Our holiday party, December 19th, 6-1.
Yeah.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a clear-cut 1-2 here now. We don't even need to say 1A, 1B. This is Linus Olmark's crease. And Linus Olmark is becoming exactly what we were hoping for. He is the bridge to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. How good is this bridge? How sturdy is the bridge? Is now the question for the next couple of years to come.
That all is
Because
going
do
to
they-
depend on UPL.
Yeah. And it will depend on UPL, but at the same time,
All-star in Cincinnati.
do they create the situation that they have in Vancouver, in Washington, where there's a steady, reliable goaltender that they can hand the reins off shortly after that? Do we get that situation in the coming years? How good of a bridge is Linus Olmark to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen if everything develops properly?
I would say that's the hope,
That's the hope.
and that should be that's probably their plan right now.
That's their plan. And again, it all just depends on if the constant here is the prospect looks promising and still looks like he's going to do what everyone thinks he's going to do. Is he that good? Okay, he's that good. Good. How steady is Olmark in the coming years?
Yes.
Becomes the new question. Because now it is without a doubt Linus Olmark's crease for the time being.
Yeah.
How long is that time? That's a question we won't know.
And that's just all. That's going to be answered by Olmark.
And that's going to be answered by Olmark in his play. But also, I would not be doing my due diligence and giving proper credit without giving credit to Ralph Kruger's defensive system. How good is this team? Because he mentioned something on WGR with Howard and Jeremy about being quick defensively. Quick defensively. How often do we see this team getting rebounds out of the way and limiting the damage of second chances?
A lot.
Frequently.
Yeah.
Frequently. This team is almost elite at it. This is something that is also helping Linus Ullmark.
Yeah.
He's able to be calm because of the fact that he knows that more times than not, if I stop that first shot, I'm not going to have to scramble. Because this team is very disciplined in its own zone. They try to limit things onto the outside, and they try to limit the chances that are dangerous on the second opportunities.
It's high danger opportunities. Yeah.
So then, in your guys' opinion, what leads to the breakdowns that are allowing 5 unanswered goals to Tampa Bay with this system in place, with Linus Ullmark in net? What is the breakdown in your own zone that leads to that type of, especially home ice, absolute implosion?
I think the easy answer is that it's not perfect, and you're going to see breakdowns every so often.
Is it just a good team being a good team?
A lot of times, yeah. It's just that. I mean, look what Tampa just did the other night to Vancouver. Vancouver going into that game was on a 7-game win streak, and Tampa scored 7 unanswered goals.
9 in the game, right? Is that what I saw?
9-2, including 3 at the end of the second period in a span of like less than 2 minutes.
Good Lord.
To Chase Markstrom. So, I mean, you can have this really good system, and the underlying numbers suggest that the Sabres are a really good defensive team, and they're limiting a lot of high quality opportunities that what the defensemen are doing because of those clearing rebounds so quickly and Linus Ullmark making that first save. But you're going to have breakdowns every so often. They're not perfect. And I think that's just the nature of the Sabres are still not as good, especially offensively, as what we like them to be. But that's just also the nature of hockey in itself. Like, no team is perfect. Not even the Tampa team that won 60-plus games last year. We saw that in the playoffs against Columbus. They're going to have breakdowns every so often, and sometimes that breakdown's going to happen against a team that can score 5 goals in a span of 1 period, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, and the other thing about this is that Jake McCabe has kind of become the new Rasmus Ristolainen, where the heavy minutes are really taking a toll on him and his performance. Even Ristolainen has improved vastly under Ralph Kruger, but he still has some of those moments every now and then with the heavy ice time that he still ends up logging. Mm-hmm. The 11-7 has helped out a lot of times with the forward defensive usage, and I've been fascinated with its usage all season.
I have as well. I really have.
And Kruger's been utilizing it very well, more nights than not. And that's the beautiful thing about it, is that he knows how to attack it. He knows that he's got an extra forward to play with to double shift if they're feeling it for that game. And that allows a line of Rasmus Asplund and Curtis Lazar to suddenly have Jack Eichel on their wing. Mm-hmm. And that creates a dangerous opportunity and dangerous predicament for another team. You know, if he's feeling it, Marcus Johansson is feeling fresh. He's going to get himself another shift in there to keep going. It allows Kruger to attack and keep attacking despite having 2 kids on his fourth line. The defensemen, they get their usage eased up a little bit, and they get a little more comfortable with each of the defending players on this team. It allows for Rasmus Dahlin to play a little bit better with a Brandon Montour or a Colin Miller. It doesn't matter which one he ends up with at that point. Or Henry Jokiharju ends up with a shift with Rasmus Ristolainen. Like, it allows for things to kind of prepare for the disaster if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
And we see that McCabe is not playing, for example. Yep. Lawrence Pilot comes in.
Yep. Scandella has been traded, too.
Scandella's been traded. So Jokiharju needs a new line mate, a new partner. And it's going to be interesting to see. But he's gotten work with the other players all throughout the season. Why? The 11-7. Because he just rolls them. And that is a beautiful thing. They use it properly. They know how to utilize it. And the players seem to enjoy it too.
And I like that they're unafraid to stick with it.
Yeah.
Especially since it's different in a league that doesn't seem to
Kruger also realizes what his roster has.
Yeah.
A butt ton of defensemen and not enough forwards because they're injured to holy hell. Ironic how that happened.
Right.
They loaded up on defense in case of injury. Botterill even says as much before the Sweden trip. And then it's the forwards who go down in a heap.
Saboka, Skinner, Olofsson.
Call up Thompson.
Yep.
Yep.
Gone.
A game? Did he even get through the game?
No, he
Right,
didn't get
finished
through his
Chicago
first game.
That was
lost
the
on a
Chicago
Sunday.
game, yeah.
Yeah, he got hurt immediately. So it's just funny how things work sometimes, and it's not funny as in ha ha, of course, because players are getting hurt. But now you see Jason Botchwell take Marco Scandella, immediately cold take my part in the Habanero hot takes about Scandella, because I was hoping they would get a second-round pick out of him. And no, instead they flip him for a fourth, use that fourth immediately to turn around and get Michael Frolik. Frolik is okay. You're not getting a top 6 piece in season.
No.
That ain't happening.
No.
What are you going to do? Well, instead, you get yourself an opportunity to
Just stretch yourself out a little bit.
stretch yourself out a little bit. He's a guy who could play on both wings and give you some depth that you desperately need right now.
Yeah, I was talking to Brayton with this just this morning, asking what he thought of Frolik. It's not a perfect trade. It's not what people were glamoring for, but you know what? It's a trade nonetheless, and it's a trade for a position that you desperately need to get through some dog days here leading up.
Some
to
injuries.
Exactly.
Leading
10
up,
points
leading up
in
to the deadline.
40 games, 31 years old. He still offers some wheels. I think he could extend some usage on the PK.
This is a very low risk trade.
Perfect. Because you know what? If it
he's
don't
a
work,
UFA. He's a UFA at the end of the year. He's making just a little more than Scandella, so it really doesn't affect your cap that much anyway. And you're hoping that maybe he can use playing in a new system to maybe get himself going as well. Because if he can get going on the bottom 6, that's going to really help that depth scoring a lot.
Sure.
He's a guy who I've always watching him play, especially when he was in Chicago. He was like one of those fourth liners that was just really good on the forecheck, using his speed to get into the offensive zone so quickly and get into those dirty areas all the time and try to create chances for his line mates. So hopefully he can. I think that they're banking on maybe he can bring some of that back.
And not only that, but you also have to look at what has happened to Michael Frolik this season. And before December 9th, he was putrid when it comes to scoring. Frolik, before December 9th, had quite literally 1 goal and 3 assists. He has eclipsed that total since then.
6 points since then, right? He came
Yes.
here with 10.
So he's playing. So
He had 4 points until December 9th.
So basically, in the last month, he's been playing a lot better.
He's been producing more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Different system, too, because the Flames had a different coach.
That's
Yeah.
right. They had
Yep.
Peters and
They had Bill
he was a
Peters and then they
butthole.
fired. Yeah.
And players are like, okay, maybe, yeah. So that's actually a great point. Like, they come in with a new coach and he looks a little more invigorated and a little more refreshed because, yeah, Peters got fired before the Sabres game against the Flames on December 5th
There you
in
go.
Buffalo.
There you go. That all
And
comes
what
together.
happened? Frolik started scoring 2 games later. And
Sometimes
things
that's
have,
all it takes.
sometimes that's all it takes. He had a 3-game slump where he had no points, but in between that, from now and that start that I mentioned from the 9th, but now he's got 2 points in his last 3 games. He's a steady depth player, and now he's been traded to Buffalo. So you're getting him at a hotter point now. The question is, what happens in this system
Yep.
under Ralph Kruger? He is not a utilitarian and a butthole like Peters. So there's good news. Maybe he responds still as proper.
Yeah.
He does have to build up something with new teammates, though, new line mates. It's not always an easy thing.
No.
But his conference call, I do remember hearing that, he's excited to be here. This isn't a Patrick Berglund situation where he's thrown off by being traded. So,
Will he have anybody in his locker room that he would have known? I know he's bounced around.
he has
Chicago,
bounced around.
Florida, Calgary.
So Chicago, Florida. He was with the Jets for a couple of years.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he was 2013, 2015 before he ended up in Calgary.
2013 to 2015.
Yeah.
Okay, so he wasn't there for either of the Blackhawks.
He was
Cups
there
in
for the
13
Cup
and 15.
in
Was he there?
2013.
He was, okay.
Yeah, it was on the
Yes.
4th line in the 2013.
Yes. And then free agency, he goes to Winnipeg.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Bogosian.
So, yeah, he would know Bogosian probably, yeah. That would make sense. So, yeah, you've got a player in Frolik that he knows a thing or two, and he's been around the league. He knows how to play. He's never been an elite scorer, but he's a depth piece.
Yeah.
And whether it be in his own mind for belief in the system and what the Sabres maybe have fear, maybe catch lightning in a bottle, maybe improve his UFA status. I don't know what it is, but the bottom line is, from what I'm hearing, the Sabres were also maybe on his no-trade list, and that, from the sound of it, was waived to get out of Calgary and come here.
Which means that, maybe that's an opportunity just
for
to get out of
reasons
Calgary.
that maybe we'll never know outside of Frolik's head.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Maybe it was to get out of Calgary, but he waived his no-trade clause to come here. That's the bottom line of it. Maybe the Sabres were initially on it. Maybe he talked with Ralph Kruger. I don't know. But he still did the same thing that Jeff Skinner did. He waived a no-trade clause to come here, which means he wants to be here in some capacity, shape, or form.
Yeah, just under 40 games to go. And then we'll see
If he's got 40 games to go, his usual pace means that you might hope for 20 points out of him.
Fine.
Half a point.
Are you kidding me?
That's a
Fine,
hope.
yeah.
Half a point a game. That's usually his shtick at this point. His best season was his rookie season where he had 45 points in 79 games with Florida. But other than that, he's had a couple down years, but generally he's the same kind of player. In Chicago is where he ended up at his worst. He had 15 and 10 in 2012, 2013. 15 points, then 10 points on the Blackhawks there. But he was also seen as a defensive forward for them.
Yeah, because he was primarily playing fourth line.
He was shut down at that point. He even got votes for Selke.
Doesn't that go like 100 votes deep, though?
Yeah, but he was 25th.
I love when I go on Hockey Reference
Yeah.
and I see Selke 77.
Yeah. He ended up in the top 25, though. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So he actually got some
So I
decent.
apologize, Michael. I thought you were
got-
like 84.
He got decent consideration.
Okay, that's something.
Halfway decent consideration for the Stanley Cup team. But then he leaves Chicago back to his 40-point shtick. So you're looking at probably 20 points out of this guy. If his consistency remains.
Sure.
Take it.
And he'll have more minutes to play here.
Yes.
Yeah, the
so that
minutes
means
is going to be
At
huge.
least immediately.
that means that I'm looking at probably 20 points out of him. Really.
Hopefully.
Really, that's in reality out of it. If he's getting more ice time, he's going to get more of that offensive role, and he's still solid as a defensive player in his own right.
I think that is all based on assuming he responds well into Kruger's system and is going to get in sync with his line mates right away.
I feel like players have responded well to Kruger's system.
Yeah,
The
I
two
do.
that openly requested trades were because there's a crowded house. Evan Rodriguez has struggled and therefore has not gotten ice time and therefore has been like, hey, if I'm not a part of this, I kind of want out. And, that's fair. You want to be able to play hockey. That's what you want to do. You don't want to be sitting in the press box all day, every day. Zach Bogosian's looking at this, and there's a logjam. And he made the request pretty much on the same merit of, I get
just
it.
wanna
There's just not enough minutes to go around, right?
yeah.
And if there's not enough minutes, I would like to go where there are some. I respect that because of the fact that,
I don't think he really wants to go where there's minutes available.
yeah, it's true. You got to take that with a double-edged sword
It's interesting.
because then the next thing you know, you end up in Detroit.
Chicago out of necessity. Or
Yeah, no,
there's not a lot of teams with cap space, and the ones with cap space aren't that great.
no, they're not. And yeah, like that's how you end up in Detroit, for example. Like you're playing for a bad team, but you get all
He's
the
just
minutes.
in a bind, man. He had freaking double hip surgery, and he's in his 30s. Like, it doesn't bode well as a hockey defenseman. He looks sluggish, and he just caught in a bind because, like, you request for a trade. You have him and Rodriguez, man. It's just weird. They've no leverage. Rodriguez hasn't scored in 50 games, and Bogosian is the guy on the wrong side of 30 with a contract close to $5 million.
And double hip surgery.
And double hip surgery.
And he looks
in
like a
your
pylon.
core. It's not great.
Yeah. And
At
scouts have
all.
eyes. They have eyeballs. They can watch this sort of thing and go, no.
Now, the other side of that argument is somebody may pay the Sabres because they think his heavy-hitting abilities will bode well in the playoffs. We've seen that. The way that Pat Maroon was idolized in the Stanley Cup run for the Blues
That-
just this
and
summer
the
ago. It
problem-
was like, oh, look, hard-hitting hockey is back. Like, pump the brakes. Like, okay,
Pump the brakes on
Someone
that.
will still be like,
Someone will
"Ooh,
do
he's
it."
Big.
Oh, someone will
He's
do
big.
it. Someone will do it at the deadline.
And that's what Zach Bogosian is. He's going to be a.
So there still might
You
be
want-
some light.
You know what that is? Zach Bogosian, and this might be the hottest take of this entire video.
Oh, boy.
Do we need
Zach
a pepper?
Bogosian
Marker.
Zach Bogosian might land a bigger price pick-wise than Marco Scandella did.
Well, if it's at the deadline, I wouldn't even call that a hot take because teams pay more at the deadline.
Teams pay more at the deadline, and this is a Mike Weber
We've
situation.
seen that, yeah. Mike Weber.
Mike Weber went for a third-round pick, guys. It was a couple years down the road, but it was a third-round pick.
Paul Gaustad went for a first-round pick.
I can't believe that because David Powell oftentimes is a genius.
Yeah.
And he traded a first-round pick for Paul Gaustad. He's one of the most respected GMs in all of hockey. Traded a first-round pick for Paul Gaustad.
But the same fellow that fleeced the Caps.
Yeah.
Same fellow who
Forsberg,
fleeced
right?
the Caps and was like, hey, I got Martin Erat. I want Philip Forsberg. Okay. Wait, okay. He said okay.
Guys, you said okay.
Guys, he said okay. Fax it now.
Fax it yesterday.
That guy paid a first for Paul Gaustad.
Yeah.
I swear, I think Darcy had him, he must have drunk dialed Darcy. He's like, I need a face-off guy. And he's like, oh, really? I got Paul Gaustad. What do you want? What do you want, Darcy? I want a first-round pick. Okay, man, I'm feeling good today. Had some bourbon, a little tipsy. Never drunk dial on deadline day. So, but yeah, no, I think that you can get a decent return out of Zach Bogosian. I think at this point, oh my God, I'm looking at the standings and how pathetic the Red Wings are. No other team is in their stratosphere or suctitude. The bottom 5 teams, 39, 38, 37, 37, 25.
Speaking of Detroit, too, the Sabres
They're,
have them on the calendar on Sunday. I mean, I'm circling back here a little bit. I know we got back into some trade discussion.
No, it's good. It's good. Let's get back into it.
Going back to the goalie discussion.
Is that
this isn't like a Brodeur in the 1990 situation where he can play 75 games for the Devils. You don't want that out of Allmark, but you got to pick and choose. I think at this point you got to pick and choose your battles. It's been bad luck, victimization for Hutton with some bad goals, and some bad play. It's just a terrible mix for this cat going back to October. But is that the next chance that you can just say, hey, Linus, here's a night off? Do you think that's the next time I see in the upcoming schedule where you can plug Hutton in and say, get off the schneid, please?
As a matter of fact,
isn't that the most favorable matchup?
As a matter of fact, you've got a very convenient thing for that as well because of the fact that you're hosting the Canucks on that Saturday, traveling to Detroit on Sunday.
That makes total sense for Allmark to play against Vancouver and to play against Detroit.
That is the perfect night. That's got to be the way to do it because it's a very natural way to go about it. If Allmark starts the week, you have a problem.
Yeah. They're almost doing what the Leafs were doing when Babcock was the coach, where it's Frederik Andersen most of the time, and then the backup only plays when they go back to backs.
Dude, Hutchison was so freaking bad.
And then he shuts out the Islanders.
Yeah.
Well, first off, the Islanders are exactly that team that can have that happen to them. Why? Because they win games 1-0.
I know.
We've seen that.
I know.
Where Carter Hutton had a poor puck bounce off the back of his freaking skate, and it goes in the net, and that's the only goal of the game.
I mean, that's a microcosm right there.
Microcosm of his season. Because that was actually, I do believe, the start of his schneid with getting a win.
If not right around it, yeah. That was either the beginning of November or the beginning of December. I feel like it was the first game in November.
It was November. I remember this. I was there for that game.
night?
He had lost his previous 2 games when that Islanders
Okay,
game
so that
happened.
wasn't even the start.
He hasn't
of the
won a
slide.
game since the San Jose game in October.
Ugh.
So he's gone 2 months without a win.
And it's really ranged for him since then as well. Because he's got great games in there, like the Islander game.
Mm-hmm.
And the game before that he played was the Arizona shootout loss.
Yep.
950 save percentages in those. Same with the overtime loss to Toronto, where he gives up an
41
unfortunate
saves,
goal.
Tavares.
Yep.
Yeah.
In overtime. But then there's stinkers. The Philly game, where pucks are going in off of Sabres, but he's looking woefully out of position.
Yeah.
And
The game before that was the Vancouver game. Same
another
thing,
6
goals.
5 against Tampa, 5 against Carolina, the
4
overtime
against
loss.
Chicago. Two times 5 against Tampa.
Yeah, don't start him against Tampa, guys.
6 against the Rangers. That's the game that started it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah, so he's really had a rough go of it. But even then, the games that he's stellar, he just happens to get the bad combination of either a bad goal or no offensive support, sometimes both.
Most of the
Playing
time.
a team run by Lou Lamoriello.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a tough season for Carter Hutton, but at the same time, you got to be able to do something at some point. And maybe he should have played that game where everyone just broke off of everything. Who's that one again?
It's been a week and I already forget who the hell they were playing. Florida.
Yeah, Florida, where everyone's just getting off the schneid. So, yeah, maybe that should have been his game. But at the same time, you watch Olmark in that game, he was spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
So he was
Florida's still a good team.
He was still one of the reasons they won that game. Yeah, I think, though, that the Sabres, despite everything that's gone wrong for them this season, starting the season off hot again, and now you're in the middle of the division, they're doing exactly what we all thought that they would coming into this year, the three of us. We all thought they'll contend. They might not make it. They'll be hella more fun than last year. That was, I know we each thought that.
Yeah.
And when me and Connor talked about them on the Raging Buffalo, we still pretty much said the same thing, which was they're okay. They're better.
Tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if playoff worthy. They put themselves in a good spot. They then blew it. Then they did it again and did it again. They're a very streaky team.
Mm-hmm.
But they've won their last 2 games. You know what that means? It's high point time, boys. Let's go get it. So go get your string of wins and make everyone feel great again before you go ahead and just kick us all in the balls again. So, speaking of getting kicked in the balls.
Did you get kicked in the balls?
Yes. So did you. So did you. And so did all y'all.
I didn't get kicked in the balls.
We watched the Buffalo Bills
Okay.
against the Houston Texans. Yeah, pretty much that exact sound after it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we all got kicked in the balls.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
much to unearth. There's so many forgotten plays that actually were so integral in the game
and
that just get thrown under the rug because, like, the final 2 minutes, like you and I talked, I felt like the 2-minute warning lasted a
that was a
hour.
great joke, though. That was a great joke.
You
were
said
like
that it was.
you
that
said,
was the highlight.
I swear the 2-minute warning started at 7.
Yeah.
Us as anchors on WGR after the games, like you have a good 2-3 minutes at the top.
Yeah,
in the middle of every
he'll do
hour
the
to
updates,
recap
and I'm
the
writing the
games.
post game wrap.
And more often than not, I'm not saying that it's easy to recap games in 2 minutes, but I didn't start writing these updates until the game ended because, like, I have 4 quarters of football to talk about, but the only thing I really need that I'm like focused on is like the final 2 minutes of the regulation and then the 3 possessions of overtime because they're in there.
Not to mention
it
all
takes an hour
season.
to unpack all that.
Not to mention all season, though. All season, they have been that team in the fourth quarter that something happens. Win or lose, they've been that guy all year where they're like, where you and I are just like deleting everything we've written because of the fact.
I didn't even start. Like, that game was going on. It's close. It gets tied with 5 seconds. I'm like, I'm just looking at a blank screen. Like,
How do you start?
I may just rap.
Where
I'm
do
just
you
going to
go?
riff.
Where are you going to go? Like, where do you start?
Right.
Same thing with me. I just deleted because when they did it again, I had several things written, and this is something that happens with journalists. You'll write something, and then the next thing you know, you have to delete everything because of the fact that you got started, and then the script totally flipped on you.
Yep.
Not just a little bit where you could just make alterations. Everything changed.
Every drive, every play, something
Everything.
noteworthy.
And like you said, there was so much to unwrap about that. The one thing that I keep hearing is about the referees and blah, 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 and I will always say this. I'm not blame the refs guy. I hate being blame the refs guy. And this is not me saying, but screw you if you're blaming the refs. They blew a 16-point lead by themselves. They didn't need any help. They didn't get any help in blowing it. Thank you very much. You know how you stop yourself from doing that? Score a freaking touchdown after the first drive. And you had great opportunities to do that. DeAndre Hopkins was catchless. His first catch goes for a fumble. You've got the ball back, and you get a field goal. But, booty cheeks. You're cruising toward the end zone at the end of the first half. You have 30 seconds left. You give the ball to Frank Gore.
Frank Gore.
What the hell? What do you get? field goal. You want to know how you put the Houston Texans away? A touchdown at the end of the half. A touchdown after the fumble. One of those two. Why? That puts you over 19 points, which the Houston Texans needed to help create overtime. Your defense is usually good at holding other teams under 20. They needed literally an extra quarter to get to over 20 points, the Houston Texans did. They literally needed another period of football to do it.
Yep.
I think that just all came down to coaching. And it came down to play calling from Daboll.
Yeah, because do you remember how quickly Bill O'Brien came undone in that football game?
He challenged a play in the first quarter, did he not?
He challenged a DPI, which never gets overturned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was a non-call.
Too. You made a good point on that, too, you came out of WBEN and were like, what if they reversed this to offensive pass interference?
Yeah.
Like, that's the stupidity that O'Brien did. He challenged a play that could have potentially blown up in his face.
Yeah.
For 6 minutes into the game.
6 minutes into the game. Why? Because Buffalo marched down on their first drive, and then Bill O'Brien just started pooping himself. And you saw how desperate he was right away, and then he punts on 4th and 1. Like, oh my God. Are you kidding me? Like, this guy, we're looking at this game early and going, Bill's got this. And again, conservative play calling, knowing and thinking that your defense is just going to be able to do everything it's been able to do all year, and that Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins aren't a thing. Shame on you.
Let's be real. The defense did for the most part. Like about 99% of that.
What I'm saying is that the coaching staff relying on it is the problem.
Right. But what I'm saying is that the coaching staff also not continuing to put stamping their foot on. And yes, but that comes with conservative play calling too. And then thinking, well, if we just go field goals, our defense will be fine. Well, at the end of the day, you still have to take into account that Houston still has elite talent that they're going to get their chances at some point in the game. Exactly. And you have to take that into account, and you have to assume that however many points you have, it's not enough, and you got to continue. You got to be more aggressive and continue to go for more, because you got to think they're gonna get some chances too.
It was shameful.
At some point, Deshaun Watson's gonna go on a drive. At some point, DeAndre Hopkins is gonna make catches.
That's exactly
it was gonna happen, and it did. And because they didn't put their foot down early enough, it allowed Houston to get back into the game.
That's exactly it. It felt and looked like complacency set in for this Buffalo Bills team when they needed to be aggressive at the worst times. Do your job for half of this football game. You have Deshaun Watson going into halftime with less than 50 yards passing, and you've already sacked him 4 or 5 times.
The entire
DeAndre
Texans
Hopkins is 0 for 0 with 2 targets.
Not to mention
in the first half.
They had 81 yards at the half.
Yeah.
Total as a team. Houston did
Buffalo
81.
Tripled at half. Mm-hmm. You're doing everything right for half of the game. You have a 16-point advantage, but you can't get complacent at that time because you still know there are so many playmakers, even without Will Fuller, on that side of the football.
Mm-hmm.
They're elite talents. That's the other part. It's not even that they're playmakers. They're elite talents.
That's what elite talent can do.
And that is why, again.
And that's why I put it on coaching. I don't put it fully on McDermott because we know
I will say
Brian Daboll is in Josh Allen's ear.
Right? I will say this. Part of that's execution.
I think so too.
Allen takes a bad sack on that 3rd down after the fumble recovery. And
I think so too, but those chances that you have that you end up settling for field goals, if you get at least one or both of them being touchdowns, those plays that Allen makes doesn't matter.
Yes.
And you're looking at it, it's like, yeah, that was a bad play, but it didn't matter. They won. You're just like, okay, just don't do it again. Just don't do it again in the divisional game. Now we're looking at it as that almost cost them the game.
Now you're looking at it as ultimately
that was a big turning point. Almost a big turning point.
In a game where every little thing mattered, those plays matter all of a sudden. And you want to know what part of the other thing was this? I'm sick and tired of the kid gloves being on Josh Allen. This is his 2nd season. Yeah, it's his first playoff game. But the guy has never shrunk down to the big moment, really. He did here a little bit. He wasn't good. He was a roller coaster. He was bad Jameis. Mm-hmm. That lateral near the end of the football game?
Yeah.
I swear you could actually charge him for murder attempt. Like attempted murder. Why? Because all of us had our hearts sink
Every Bills fan was having heart attacks.
Yes. Josh Allen, you could be charged for attempted murder for that lateral to nobody because you're a jerk.
Bulldog came out of the studio after that play and
Oh my
put it
God.
absolutely perfectly. In all the minds of Bills fans, Bulldog just comes out. We're all in the bullpen just watching in the newsroom.
Oh, my God.
He comes out what the F was that? There's like 75 seconds on the clock.
Yes.
This isn't like, oh my God, I'm going down. This game needs to be extended. Somebody catch this.
He's acting like there were 7.
Clock.
He was acting like there were 7 seconds left.
Yeah.
And
Oh my goodness.
I'm pretty sure, like, I can probably find you at least 14 Bills fans that seriously, legitimately pooped themselves when that happened. Like, probably on the legitimate, I'm not kidding, crapped themselves.
Our quarterback just looked like a second baseman raging up the middle, trying to no look. With our season on the line.
Camera died!
Oh.
Damn it, it happened
Damn it.
again.
This happened before.
This happened before. John Simon and I did this. So...
Well, the last thing they're going to see is my ass.
Yes, that was beautiful, actually. So now Frank's going to be able to put some beautiful picture up of, like, our stupid logo with a sad face in it. Like the last time with the Mark Schofield video. I'm pointing to the camera like they can see me now. Like the Mark Schofield video with John and I, and it just says technical difficulties on it, and it's a sad face. So...
So we're just going to roll on. Huh?
We're doing it. Yeah, we're
Find,
going.
like a technical difficulties logo, just like one
Yes.
of like
Just
everything
like-
is broken.
Yes, just go. You're the editor here. Do it.
I will.
So Frank's
can
got extra work to do now.
Just get
Great.
naked now. Nobody sees me.
All right, here we
Have
go.
fun
Now
this
it's
afternoon.
now it's a party. Wrong
that
kind,
kind of party.
wrong kind of raging buffalo though, Kyle. Jesus. Good thing we don't market to children. Are your videos suitable for children? No.
Hey, man,
So-
so I have kind of a cynical thought, too.
Okay.
Kind of on the game, after the game.
Oh yeah. I mean, everyone has those now. I mean, we're all salty bitches.
Like, yeah, we know what it is. It's been a week now. Are we all over the going to the airport thing now?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I said something about that when I joined Brayton on Sports Talk Sunday on WGR after that game.
Love y'all, but can we be done with that?
We could be done with that now.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I was very annoyed about it with the Patriots game. Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you lost to the Patriots. Good job, guys. Wait, what? Like, hang the goddamn fuck up. Like, come on. Can we be done with this? We need to be done with this because, look, I get it. When it happened for the playoff drought, that was historical. That was special. That was something that we needed to actually see and actually have it happen. Like, that was a surreal moment in itself. So doing that, absolutely, you damn well should.
Even the Pittsburgh game too.
Even the Pittsburgh game, when you clinch the playoff spot that quickly, I guess, like, you know what, that's cool.
That's more. Yeah, that's.
But at
there's
that
a lot of
point, when you clinch the
appreciation wanna
playoff spot,
show.
you should be thinking like a lot of us were. Okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And now to come back, like, I get it. You're grateful for the season that we had.
I think. Well, you know what?
But you know what? Y'all don't need to. There's some logistics behind this, though, of course. It's a Saturday night, so people don't have to work the next day.
Yeah.
So I get why that's going on. You're appreciative of the season that they had. But after that kind of loss, no. I'm not for it. I'm not, like, I'm too salty. I was legitimately pissed for the first time in a while. Like, I yell and scream and act like JoJo the circus idiot a lot, but I'm never really mad. I'm, like, kind of just, like, pouring some emotions out there while just, like, trying to be entertaining. Let's be real about that. Some of it's an act. Yes, I'm a faker. I'm a big fat phony. But the other part about this is this. I watched that game, and when they lost, I was pissed. I got home. The first thing my roommate wanted to do was talk about the football game, and I said, no.
Right.
No, I'm not doing this right now. Not only do I have to go ahead and talk about it on the air the next morning, I just don't want to do it right now. I don't have the mental capacity nor the strength.
I think.
So to have that kind of emotion, you sure as shit better believe that I am not going to the airport.
No, man. again, like this is a bad comparison, and I don't want to hurt people's feelings too bad, our listeners, because some of them may have been there.
We're calling people out on this, yes.
I'm gonna be. It feels like high school. Does it not? Like
yes,
my high school soccer team won states. You follow them back. You meet them at the school. Woohoo! Hurrah! You win. Like this is a professional football team.
No. I mean, I feel like there's some small comparisons. Like
there's
the Sabres get
when you do it 3 times in a season, and one of them is just after 2 of them are after losses.
Yes, that's fair, and that's where we need to call it out.
The high school thing wasn't perfect.
Some of it is reminiscent of like
okay.
the Sabres will play a tough game and they gut it out and they win it and they salute the fans for being there for the evening.
Fine,
but that's little. Those people were already there.
I have changed my nightly plans to go sit in an airport in the 20-degree weather to watch my team come across the tarmac, cheer at them. They don't want to see them. You've all been athletes. Do you want to see the people you care about the most after you lose a game like that?
No.
That they were pulling for you to win so badly? What's the last thing you want to do? Have interactions. Like I commend these guys for talking to the media after that. That's so freaking
That's a professional obligation, but at the same time, like
so freaking
but it
difficult.
just
to put a smile on for these people
And
after
you got to see these people that hung with you for months. They were at OTAs and training camp going back to the summer. I don't want to see these people coming off the airplane.
I'm swearing still probably as a player.
My head is down. My headphones are on. Like I feel bad.
You just want to go home.
I, as a person, feel bad. I want to get the hell home.
Yep.
I don't want
to be with your
go
family.
through the pity party anymore. I understand you're there for a good cause, but like in my mind, I'm like
I get it.
I feel so terrible.
I get it that they're grateful for the season that they had, but that moment was not the time to do it.
No.
Like you said, like if you're a player, you're pissed.
No.
Like you think we were pissed? They're pissed.
Yeah.
They're pissed. And
now, I got a couple things though on it. I think you also have to remember that maybe a lot of people that were there are also there. You said they were appreciative of the season. A lot of those people probably have never seen this kind of season out of the Bills.
I don't give a damn.
Did it end shitty? Yes. However, I think
I don't give a damn.
I think as long as the Bills continue to be a good team next year, a couple years from now, 3 years from now, we'll still see those crowds, after they clinch playoff spots, even after playoff losses, even if they lose in the playoffs too.
They shouldn't.
It depends. If the size of the crowd goes down, then I think it's like, okay, it's only just some people there who just want to be there, because it's like, oh, this is a chance to see the players.
The crowd size doesn't matter to me, really, at that point. You shouldn't be going to the airport after losses, really. I mean, because again, especially in the way that they lost that game against Houston, you shouldn't have to be showing up there because they don't want to interact. They want to get home. They want to feel a little better. And yes, maybe seeing some of those fans might brighten some of those players' days up, but that's not the time nor place for it.
No, I think that's fair too.
Again, it was historic when you did it for breaking the playoff drought.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a special exception. Do you know what this comparison is? You brought up a comparison that I didn't think was exactly there. This is storming the court, which has become overplayed in itself.
Okay, that's a little better. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are teams that should be expected to win games, or they were good programs, and they're storming the court because they beat a ranked team. But they were a good team in itself. Like, come on. You're Syracuse. What the hell are you storming the court for?
I like that.
Yeah. That's what that is. And it's ridiculous. Most of the time in that college basketball scene, those are kids that want to party and get drunk. Here. But guess what Bills fans have gotten a reputation for? Partying and getting drunk. You know what's not helping? That. So let's knock off this whole celebrating just being there. Let's knock off this whole supporting the team no matter what, live and die, ride and die sort of thing. No, this is... I said it on that show with Brayton, and I'm going to say it here on this podcast. We don't have to accept just being there. Expect great things.
Yes.
Why? Because this team expects great things. Match their mindset. Mm-hmm. They want more. They know they should have had this game, and y'all know that sure as shit too. Expect great things because that's what this team is trying to build for. And if they don't make it, they will do something about it. And if they don't make it, we should not have to be there and go, oh, you did okay, sweetie.
Perfect world, we look back at this in 5-6 years and laugh because this was the start of something.
Yes.
This doesn't become a talking point because we don't need to do it anymore because it's a commonality and it's an expectation.
You want to know when you want to know the next time I want to see people at the airport? AFC Championship game. Wait, no. Let me rephrase that. You want to know the next time I want to see them at the airport?
Say it.
Super Bowl. Win or lose, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Why? I want a home AFC Championship game. They should be here.
Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
How's that for your answer?
Much hotter of a take than Bogosian being
More
higher of a
expensive
sale than Marco Scandella in February.
Hey, you started it. You started this, and I was 100% with you on it. So I was riding your momentum here. I'm gonna give you credit. You set up the 1T. That's what you did.
Damn.
That's how you did it.
Backstrom to Ovi.
Yeah.
So
Call him
again,
playmaker.
this is I want to see the next time I want to see the fans crowding the airport is if they're leaving or coming back for the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter. Maybe both. Whatever. Win or lose, I'd be okay with that. That'd be okay. That'd be the acceptable comeback from a loss.
Mm-hmm.
The Super Bowl. The freaking Super Bowl. Why? You were the AFC champions. Do it. Sure. I'm probably thinking about going.
Well, especially if they win. A city when the players and the fans come back from the Super Bowl, the whole city's gonna be on fire.
Yo, if they win, there ain't no airport to come back to.
Just land in this nearby field.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just go land in Toronto and drive back because there ain't no airport. Oh my God. We'll all have to be shot down because of how rowdy we get. So, yeah, and now the offseason awaits, and I'm intrigued to see what they do, but that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
Because we've been at it for a while. Our camera even died.
I still think it's still good to at least be appreciative of what the Bills did this year.
You could be appreciative without
You
doing
didn't have
that.
to. Yeah, you did. You just didn't have to.
You know
show
what? It was kind of embarrassing a little. Not embarrassing, but like, I feel like that's like I put the comparison out there. Like, you did great, sweetie. Like, this is a participation trophy.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Yeah, you didn't need it.
That was gross. Yeah. I'm like, Kyle got me started on it, and I've got like a little more of an extreme version of his answer, but that was also because I said something about it already.
Mm-hmm.
And I already had this opinion expressed. So that's whatever. That is what it is. Can't say goodbye to the camera, but we can say goodbye here on the Raging
Frank,
Buffalo
let it die.
Podcast. Yeah, Frank. No more photography for Frank. Like, he's not our videographer.
Right.
He's our editor now.
My fault. Yeah.
It's also kind of mine for not charging the damn camera.
That's a lot better.
Boy,
a
cries
shared-
you a sweater
Fucking
tears.
Derek.
He's
Kill
a
him.
he's a
My favorite line in SpongeBob ever. And I will put that stamp.
So follow the gang on Twitter.
At datdude_KP.
That's Kyle Powell.
At Frank Arcury.
I don't think I need to say who that is. And I'm at Derek Kramer 49. Well, that's my name there too.
Not his age.
Yeah, not his age. Sometimes people want to make that joke, but yeah, no, I'm not that old. I'm old. I'm not that old.
Not yet.
So, yeah, eventually it'll get there. But thank you for listening / watching the Leftovers podcast. I'm excited to see what our
Not the
editor.
leftovers.
Oh shit, that's right. It's because we don't have the video anymore. That's why I'm used to like this is an old habit here. There, it's the old trio. We're doing audio right now. Like
Band is back.
the band is back, and it's not the Leftovers podcast. No shit. This is the Raging Buffalo, and I fucked up the exit. Kyle, sign us off.
We'll be back sometime. I mean, keep tuned in for installment 3 of Habanero Hot Takes. I feel like outside of a couple other videos in the next week or so, because we owe you in the new year.
Yeah.
Now that everybody's back and the holidays are done and the craziness is
I
behind us.
want to get back Ice Up Sun.
Yeah.
You know, going to the rink, talking some hockey.
Who's left? Is there only enough of us left for one more hot take before everyone's done it? Who has not been drafted besides myself?
You and Justin.
Oh, no.
So
There's 2 of us.
There's 2 of you
Oh,
that haven't
boy.
done it from the team.
Oh, we should do a baseball
Because
one.
John very smartly said no.
What? Tell him he has to. Justin, John, and myself, let's do a baseball-centric Habanero Hot Takes.
All right, you want to get together? Go for it.
That's a good little trio.
That's a good little trio for some baseball. Yeah. So
some bats and balls.
You want to try to convince John? Be my guest.
I will.
So, because the backstory on this,
Or Frank can do it again. We can talk about the Rockies. Is Nolan Arenado going to be in Colorado by March?
And also Frank's.
I don't want to talk about that.
Frank's also stone cold
That
steel.
makes me really sad.
So
I'd imagine.
So Frank's also stone cold steel. So you don't have to worry about Frank. But yeah, the backstory on this, I guess we're still going on here, is every member of this podcast team, I asked them about this, and every one of them basically, without quoting anybody, said, screw it, why not? I'm in. Probably a bad idea, but why not? And John goes, now that's a bad idea. I'll help you guys out, but I ain't doing that. I'm like, okay, you know what? Fair enough. You're at least being honest with yourself there. So to his credit, he did say eventually he will get in on that. So eventually. But if any of us dies before then, he's probably going to turn that back into a solid no.
I would imagine the answer would stay the same if somebody actually suffered a death.
Yes.
On this podcast.
I mean, if that happened, I'm pretty sure we're just.
If there was a way I'd want to go out,
not like
I
this.
think it'd be that.
I don't know, man.
Providing a hot take so scorching that the habanero actually doubles in heat.
I like them.
Here we are, just gleefully talking about death. Probably now no better way to end it. Follow the gang on Twitter. 11-day power play, the Beer League Non-Stars. Link will be in the description. And otherwise, you guys have yourselves a fantastic one. I know more video content's coming over the weekend. Why? Because I know that Justin Lamont and Connor Priester will be up and at it for another recording. So,
bang, bang.
There we go. We got to pump some things out for you. And I'm going to start establishing a regular schedule for everybody. We will have them on certain days. The announcement will be coming. So we'll be steadying up our content for you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging around. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe because we are on the YouTubes.
Comment funny stuff.
Comment funny stuff if you want to as well.
Did you see my comments?
Oh, no.
You didn't?
I hate you.
I already hate it.
Oh, boy. So follow Kyle for some silly comments. Thanks for watching and then listening because our video got shut down because of
FCC violations.
Dead battery.
Or one of the same.
We're not that badass. Not yet. Stay tuned. More stuff coming.